Hey, welcome to Back to the Basics. My name is Josh, and tonight we're going to be getting into something. We're going to be going back into the 90s and talking about some cartoons, specifically Doug versus Rugrats.
Yes, dude. Oh, I'm Eddie. I'm so excited to be here. Talk with Josh about. Let's get nostalgic, man. Let's do this.
You're all choked up. What's going on over there?
I'm just so excited. You know, I downed this Rockstar before I got on the
Was
cast
that a
here.
Rockstar? I thought that was a beer or something. I know what you were drinking.
You could hear it in the background, right?
Yeah.
I downed this Rockstar, and so now I'm like super amped up and ready to dive into these Nickelodeon shows, man. That I'm just like, Doug, 100, dude. Rugrats, some of my favorite cartoons, dude. So I'm actually really excited to talk to you about this because I know you love these just as much as me.
I mentioned Doug and Rugrats before the show, and you kind of you hit that level. You're just like 100. I was like, okay. Before we jump into the discussion, though, I want to let everyone know you can find us at www.back2dbasics.com. Head over there, check us out, and
we got a website, y'all.
yeah, we do got a website. That's
so
cool.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to. Honestly, I haven't sat down and talked to anybody about like cartoons, specifically like 90s cartoons, in a long time.
I don't think I've ever done it, dude.
Yeah, really? When you kind of find people, you're just like, I mean, you're not gonna like go to work and be like, hey, do you like 90s cartoons? You know what I'm saying? People are gonna be like,
unless you
what?
work in a truck with your best friend or something like that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Where you're so close, you basically might as well be making out.
You said it, player.
But yeah, man. Talking about like 90s cartoons in general is something that kids grew up, born in the 80s, growing up in the 90s, or however, is the cartoons, at least in my experience, were some of the most comforting, like happiness moments that I can remember. And what's so weird about the cartoons that I grew up with is that I can turn those on today in my 30s, and I can almost like reclaim that feeling that I felt as a child. The comfort, the safety, the happiness, kind of going back when it felt like life was at a better state, maybe because we were so ignorant and innocent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. Just when you were talking, dude, when you said diving back into the 90s and cartoons and how it made you feel as a kid, like I got a legit smile on my face. I was just listening to you talk about it, and it for me definitely, and I think it's nostalgia, dude. That feeling like waking up on a Saturday morning and you're just like, the first thing you do is get your bowl of cereal and sit down and turn on the TV, and what's on? Rugrats, Recess, Cartoon Network, like everything. It was just a happier time, like you said. And for me, I think a lot of people just like me probably associate cartoons and Doug and Rugrats with that happy time. So that, like you said, just for me, I'm about to get into my 30s and I'll still watch it today, dude. I'll turn on Doug and the theme song hits and I'm like hooked, and I'll be there for episode after episode after episode. Same with Rugrats. So, but the real question is which one do you like more? I think that's what we're trying to get to the bottom here today, right?
Okay, I mean, you could like it more, but I say let's go balls deep, and no matter what your personal taste is, what do you believe is the better cartoon?
Okay. I like that. What is the better cartoon?
If you can separate your feelings.
Oh, that ain't gonna happen.
Okay. Then I guess it's what you like.
No. I get what you're trying to get to the bottom of.
Before before we get in the meat and the potatoes of the actual cartoons themselves, I need to know about the intros, because to me, this ain't even a debate. When it comes to the intros, which to me, I think will always be the most memorable part of a cartoon. Some cartoons that are really good have really shitty intros sometimes. But I think the cartoons that are already fucking really good and they have an amazing intro, especially it's all about the song, I think those are the ones that really stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think without any question that Doug is anywhere comparable to the opening of Rugrats.
So you're saying that Rugrats is better than Doug?
It's
the
yeah.
opening,
I don't even
anyways?
think it's debate. I don't even think it's open for debate.
So you're
I think
talking
that's a general public like assumption or whatever you call that, like an opinion.
What do you mean? You're
A belief.
You're telling me you're telling me that is not the best cartoon intro of all time?
No. I mean,
you're telling me. Dude, it had harmony. It had fucking beatboxing. It had la 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 la. Dude. I don't know, man.
It's good.
I don't know, man.
But
it's a stretch.
Is it better than Rugrats?
You're breaking my balls here, dude. You're breaking them. You're making me decide between two of my favorite childhood cartoons. Like, you got some people who are probably like Hey Arnold kids, or some kids who grew up with Recess, but like Doug and Rugrats, they both have their own movie.
It's so funny you mentioned Recess and Hey Arnold, because those are the two cartoons that I could not get on the level with.
Movie, you football head?
Football head, yeah. I could not get on those. And I think it was because I was getting a little older at that time.
Probably, dude. They started to like drop off for me. So
yeah, it was Wild Thornberries.
Oh shit.
It was Hey Arnold and Recess. I just never got into those. Those are the three I never got into. What I did see of Wild Thornberries, I did like. I did like it. My brother watched
the dad
it.
Nigel. it was some of it was good, and then you get into like things like SpongeBob and like, but that's like later, dude.
Yeah.
But even the Wild Thornberries, yeah, I was falling off. I wasn't a big Hey Arnold kid, but I do remember watching some Hey Arnold. But back to the fucking intros, which Hey Arnold had a really good intro too. But back to the intro, which for me, it connects me automatically with whatever I'm watching. And that's still to this day, dude. If a TV show has a really good song intro, like the title sequence, everything, I like that show that much better. Like you were saying, I think if it's a good TV show and the entrance sucks, okay, like whatever, I'm gonna still watch it for the TV show. But if it has both of them, like you were talking about, dude, it's automatically like up there for me. It's like that's gonna be one of my all-time favorites.
It's a test of time, dude.
Yeah,
you're gonna be humming that intro, that theme song. You're gonna be humming it in 15 years.
Rugrats, dude. Yeah.
Dude,
so
the way it started with the diaper, like the squirt of milk and like the diaper, and then the diaper, like he's doing a Tommy, is like doing a fucking handstand or something. The diaper just lands on him. And then like and it's just kind of showing you the chaos, bro. Like, and I mean, you go to anybody's house with kids that age, and there's that many of them. You open the door, bro. It's like a circus, bro. It's just like that, bro. There's food flying everywhere. There's fucking just chaos happening.
The milk squirts in the fucking mom's face, and that's the title sequence right there. You see Rugrats, yeah.
The splat.
Tight. And it's funny that there is chaos in that one because that's sort of like how Doug's intro is. It's very chaotic. You know, he's swinging from his pencil drawings that he writes in his notebook. Dear journal. So he's writing in his notebook, but the animation sequence, he's like swinging from line to line, and he draws Roger, and they're using it as like a rope, and he's trying to get Patty, but it's all chaos. He keeps like falling and slipping, and I think at the end you see the title sequence, and he like is walking in a paint can, and you hear tuk, 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 and he turns it on, and it's like Doug. That's very memorable for me, dude. Both of them, because they're just like complete chaos, and it's all over the place. It's awesome.
Yes, but
so yeah, I don't know what else to say besides that, dude. Like it's gonna be hard to find a winner here. What's the best? Well, what categorizes either one of these as the best? Like, how are we gonna figure that out, dude? That's my question.
Okay, so, well, what would you what did you relate to more? Because I related to. I think at the end of the day, I don't know. This is really hard, but at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna have to go ultimately Rugrats. I'll just say that now. But I always related to Doug. I think for sure I would definitely relate to Doug, obviously, because, you know, going to school, you know, I obviously wasn't a toddler, you know, and the one thing that I love about Doug the most, outside of Pork Chop, the dog, right? And the journal. I love at the end of the day, he would always write in his journal, and he would kind of get lost, right?
That's so dope.
If I remember
dude.
correctly, I haven't seen Doug in
no, that's exactly it. Is at the end of each episode, he would finish with, you know, dear journal, today, blah 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 blah. Like me and Patty, or I really thought Patty was gonna ask me to the dance or something, you know. And so it was really. I related to that too a lot, dude. I never had a journal or anything, but for me, when I was a little bit older, because me and you have a little bit of like an age difference, but when I was older and I still went and watched all those, they would like literally transfer over to like how school was, how life was.
Yeah.
But for me, mostly I related to Rugrats. I was a little younger at the time, so it was kind of around the same age. No, I wasn't a toddler, but I was like 6, 5, you know, when Rugrats came out, and I would sit there and watch it, and hey, those are kids. I'm a kid, you know. I'm a kid. She's like, damn. So it was really cool that you had these shows that were very kid friendly and kind of like gave you something to relate to as a child. And me personally, I don't see a lot of that nowadays.
How do you relate to SpongeBob? How does a child relate to SpongeBob? Riddle me this, Batman.
I don't know, Patrick. Like, dude, I don't know. We don't live in a pineapple under the sea. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not hating on SpongeBob. I'm just saying, like, it's weird because, I mean, how do you even relate to what's that damn show? Rick and Morty, right?
Oh, okay. And so I see straight up Rick and Morty as like Back to the Future, dude. Like,
yes.
I've told people that plenty of times, and I'm like, it's literally Back to the Future.
But it's a show. I mean, it's a lot of fantasy, and obviously, however you want to describe it, or however what labels you want to put it on, doesn't matter. It's just the fact that as a child growing up, watching these shows on Nickelodeon or wherever they're watching them, when we grew up in the 80s and the 90s and stuff, it outside of fantasy stuff, obviously that's always been there, He-Man and stuff like that. But there was always this huge grounding, yeah, this He-Man episode is about He-Man slaying an evil dragon and an evil mage, but there's always a message and a moral to be learned by watching this cartoon, right? That was really big in the old school cartoons. I don't see that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't
you get
watch
like a story, a message, something important.
It was a message, you know? the perfect, shit, Captain Planet, right?
Oh,
Remember kids,
dude.
kids,
Yes.
save the planet, not these hoes, right? The meme, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there's always this underlying message behind a lot of old school cartoons, whether it be a whole episode about sharing, right? And it teaches young minds that sharing is a good thing, right? And
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
relate to the characters on the screen because as a child or as a toddler, or even a young adult, like Doug going to school, he's in love. He really likes Patty Mayonnaise, but Patty Mayonnaise doesn't. It's so oblivious, right?
She doesn't know anything, and I think she starts to see later on.
But how many
But
kids could relate to that growing up?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, dude. It's like you have this crush on like the popular girl because that's what Patty Mayonnaise was. You know, she was kind of popular. She was a lot of people liked her. She had friends. And Doug is like this new kid just moved from out of town. That's what the first episode is. He's moving to Bluffington, and he's the new kid in school, and so he has to learn everything and move in. And he turns to his journal, and that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
is he basically blogs all the stuff that he's going through in his journal at the end of every day. And so that's like the one thing that he turns to, because
wow,
in the beginning he doesn't really have friends. Of course he meets Skeeter, which becomes his best friend, but that's after he already meets Roger, which is like his biggest enemy, and always picks on him. So you've got bullies. You've got the only other, what people would say, colored person is his best friend. A lot of people think Skeeter's the only black dude, but
what? I don't even remember Skeeter being a different color.
He's like green, and Doug's like
Roger's green.
Well, so Skeeter is like kind of like Roger's straight up green, like throw up, but Skeeter is almost like a bluish green. I think he's blue. I want to say he's like
is he blue?
Like aqua. I think he's like blue. But it's funny because he walks around and he's got like a boom box, and he's got the parachute pants on, and he's like very hip, he's like really cool. And so you've got this like, I would say minority, but
his name is Mosquito.
Yeah, and people call him Skeeter.
Mosquito Skeeter Valentine.
Yeah, that's right. His last name's Valentine, and Doug's last name is Funny. Doug Funny.
My world is shook right now.
Yeah, dude, I think they mentioned it.
His name was Mosquito.
I think they mentioned it in the first episode. You got to go back and watch it.
Oh my goodness. That's how Skeeter from Mosquito. I've never understood why they call him Skeeter. I've always thought it was some slang for like some hip kid, or maybe, I don't know.
He's the Skeeter.
Mosquito Valentine, dude. Who came up with that name? Is beyond epic.
And he would always do that. Yeah, he'd be like, you're like, what's up, Doug? That was like his thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah. He had a big nose, and he'd walk around and be like, hey, Doug.
Oh my goodness. I love it, dude. Yeah.
And then you got the mayor of Bluffington, and he's like the rich dude, and then his daughter's rich, and you've got all these different characters. And Doug's next door neighbor, Mr. Dinkleton or Dink, or yeah, they call him Dink. I think is a Dink. It's like, hey, Douglas, what's going on today, Doug?
Yeah, I remember him. That classic, like 40-year-old nerd, like
exactly. Yeah, he was super nerdy. Yeah. And he was working on inventions, and he was always trying to work on a new invention, and it would always like either mess up or help Doug in some way. And so you had all these like really cool characters that were in there. They all served a different purpose, and it just made it that much more relatable, is what I'm trying to get at. Is as a kid growing up, I think even kids now could probably turn it on and watch it and be like, oh, dude.
I think it's super relatable. I mean, you have, like you said, you have the bully, right? Exactly. Tell me, as a child, who liked Roger? As a child. And now I'm sure a lot of kids can relate to Roger, right? Because they're assholes themselves, fucking jerks. But it's like, back in the day, dude, I remember I always hate you because you're always rooting for Doug because you relate to Doug.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least I did. And it's just like that jerk over there that's always ruining everything. He's always there. He's always ruining shit. And yeah, I just think it hit all those elements. And then
And
you
it's
have
funny.
something.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, you have something like SpongeBob. I'm like, how is that relatable for children? I'm sure they like it. It's funny. It's quick. It's ADD shit. But it's like,
And that's what it is. It's very comedic. It's very like funny. There's not much message. It's just funny situations that, you know, he's got to get out of, or like even Squidward, which would be, I guess, like his Roger. Squidward's just this like older, depressed dude who doesn't want to do anything, and he's mean, and it's like, yeah, a lot of like older people probably relate to Squidward a lot.
it's me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I've been told I'm Squidward, dude.
Yeah, me too.
And
At
I'm
certain
like,
points.
what?
They're like,
What?
"Oh, why are you being such a Squidward?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Oh my God,
dude?
is that a thing?
Yeah. People, it's the younger generation, dude. Yeah, they'll
Yeah, I mean,
walk
that's
around and be
whatever,
like,
dude.
"Why are you being such a Squidward?" I'm like, like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Why are you being
but-
such a little psychopath?
Yeah, exactly.
Little SpongeBob
Thank you.
psychopath.
Yeah. But it's what I was gonna say earlier is it's funny because in Doug funny in Rugrats, the exact parallel for Roger would be I blanked on her fucking name, Angelica.
Angelica.
Yes,
want to
that
throw a rock
is-
at that little kid's head. Don't clip that. Don't clip that out of context.
Throw a rock. Oh,
I didn't
bust
say
your
that.
head
In a
with
video
rock.
game. In a video game.
Yeah, they probably have I'm sure they have a Rugrats video game. I think there was one on N64.
Oh,
Back to the
yes.
basics.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, dude. So the exact parallel is Angelica, and she was a little shit, dude, with her fucking little doll. Just blanked on her doll too. I couldn't remember her name. Now I can't remember her doll. Susie, or no, Susie was the little friend. The only other girl was Susie, and then you had Angelica, and who gives a fuck what her doll's name was? But
Yeah, Phil and Lil, dude. I
oh,
loved
Phil and
Phil
Lil.
and Lil.
Chucky, Tommy, and then later Dill Pickle.
Oh
What's his
my
name?
God. Who the hell is Dill? Was Dill the baby?
Dill's the little baby brother from the movie.
His name is Dill.
Cynthia was her doll.
Cynthia. Oh yeah. Oh God,
Yeah.
I hated when she said the name Cynthia. Didn't you? That's what I said, dude. You want to throw a rock at her?
Cynthia! Yeah, dude. She would always
Wanna
scream
throw a
out
rock.
Cynthia because Cynthia was always getting like lost and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she was always sad about Cynthia.
Jeez.
I don't know, dude. Rugrats and Doug are two of my all-time favorites, dude. And so when you came up with this, like Doug v Rugrats versus Rugrats, I was like, there's no way we're gonna get to the bottom of this because I honestly can't pick. And I know you said like separate your feelings, but I'm like, nope, it's not gonna happen, dude.
Can't
Not
do
gonna
it?
happen. I as someone growing up and getting older, I watched both of these probably like back to back. Like once I got them on like streaming and like my Apple device, and I went back to the basics and I started looking up all the old cartoons I used to watch, and these were the two that I even bought some of them. I bought some of them and I was like, I'm gonna buy the whole first season. I'm like, I don't know, dude. So it's kind of hard for me. I don't know about you, but I think you were leaning more towards Rugrats. That
We haven't even talked about a key element.
hit me with it. I'm I'm ready to see if you can convince me.
Well, I'm gonna fight for on your side now.
Oh, jeez. So now you're gonna make it
Quailman.
harder. Oh, Quailman!
Dude.
It's a fucking superhero of Doug, his imaginary superhero,
Dude, I loved
Quailman.
Like I said, and say like I said, at the end of the day, I relate towards Doug way more on all aspects, dude. The fact that he lives in his head a lot, right? And he reflects his days on the paper, on his journal and stuff like that. And I relate to a lot of that, and I relate to like kind of Doug in his whole embodiment at that time in school. You know, you get lost, and I love how he would get lost in his imagination with like Quellman and shit, right?
Yeah.
And he was his own Superman.
Yes. He had a
He was
cape
his
and everything.
own. He had the underwear, bro.
He put the underwear on over his shorts. Yes, that is
It was the
classic, dude.
best. The Quellman, dude.
Best.
Is the best. So like I say, I think I relate towards Doug, relate to that cartoon so much more than Rugrats. But at the end of the day, dude, I think overall, with under a microscope, I think Rugrats is always going to come out number one at the end of the race.
So my question is, what is it about Rugrats that for you puts it ahead of Doug? And because I know you relate a lot to Doug, you just told me. But what is it that about Rugrats? Like, is there a certain thing, just off the top of your head, that you're like, yep, it's the winner?
It's because it was something to me. The only way I can kind of compare is Dr. Dolittle, where the animals, you're like, holy shit, these motherfuckers have full conversations with each other.
Yeah.
Watching Rugrats was like, holy shit, I've never seen a bunch of toddlers fully fucking conscious going on little missions in the backyard. It just what I think truly about Rugrats is that it warms my heart. Like I said in the beginning about what these cartoons do to me. And I feel that Rugrats is toddlers. Their biggest adventures are in the backyard. Most of it is all in the living room, or kitchen or what have you. And what in that environment is the safety of a family and a home.
Oh, that's beautiful, Blair. You're gonna make me cry.
So when you watch Rugrats, you know there is no danger. There's no heartbreak. There's no this or that, right? And in itself, yes, it is fantasy because there's a bunch of toddlers fully conscious, you know, talking to each other. And it has, I think, a more, I'm not going to use the term. I don't know what term to use. It has I think the cast of characters are more entertaining in Rugrats.
Very
Between
true.
the dad, the grandpa,
Grandpa Stu, Stu was the dad, and then the grandpa.
The grandpa. I love the grandpa.
Yeah, he was dope, dude.
Yeah.
They did get into some danger though. The whole first Rugrats movie was them lost in the woods, player. Don't forget that. Like,
okay, well, yeah, I'm only talking like
straight up. Oh,
yeah,
just
I don't
the
know
cartoon.
about no movies.
Oh, the movie was awesome. He gets responsibility. It's all about Dill and Tommy. But I agree with you, dude. Rugrats for me, it's more like it speaks more to being a child, the innocence of being a kid and just having fun and being fun loving and going on an adventure, and everything is like everything
So
in your
grand.
little world. Yes, everything in your
So
world
grand.
is just, you have just this imagination. And I remember being a
Yes.
kid and I would go out and play with my Star Wars toys, and I would just create this whole world where I was no longer in my front yard or my backyard. I was in a Star Wars scene. I was in Endor with all the little Ewoks, and I was playing with my
Preach.
action figures, and that's what I would do. I would get my ships and I would set up a whole battlefield, and dude, so for Rugrats, that's exactly what I would do in my real life. And for me, now I'm starting to lean towards the side is like Rugrats probably is my favorite cartoon out of the two, Doug, I could relate more to, like, if I was going to school, how it feels to be everyday real life, the things that you go through as a child, growing up as a real life kid. But Rugrats speaks to the imagination of a
There you go.
child, the
There you
toddler,
go.
the fun of just being a kid, dude, and being there with your friends. That's my
Yep.
thing. Now I'm gonna get off my soapbox and throw it back to you.
Hey,
Blair.
no, dude. That's why I said preach. I said preach because it is all about the imagination. And I'm gonna say something. I just kind of got chills right now. But another level of Rugrats, that when you get older, you go back and when you're watching it, you see it from a different perspective.
Oh yeah,
is the adults, the parents, the parents, dude. You see, the stress, the chaos, the everyday life of how they're trying to hold the household together, especially the mom.
dealing with
She's
the
like,
kids.
she's always on it, dude. She's like the superhero of that show is the mom. She, because you have the grandpa retired. I don't even know where my teeth is. He doesn't give a shit, dude. He's watching football or baseball, whichever one he watches, and he doesn't give two licks of a cow's asshole. He doesn't care, whatever. But then my favorite adult is Stu, right?
No, the husband, Stu.
The husband, the father, because what this is where I know there's probably a lot of dark. I'm not going to get into any like theories about Rugrats.
Oh, don't you ruin it for me.
The thing is that as an adult now, I look back on Stu and I'm not a father. I do not have children. But I can relate to Stu so much if you kind of look at his character, what does he do, right? He's trying to invent toys. Right?
Yeah, dude. He's an inventor. He's an entrepreneur.
He's an inventor.
Oh.
But it's usually children's toys, right?
Mm-hmm. He uses his inventions as toys for his kids, and then tries to sell them, of course. But go ahead, man. I was sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. I just truly have always felt that he is always trying to reclaim his own childhood. And that struggle, that fight, and how from other people he just looks like a nut in a basement, right?
Yeah.
It's not working, Stu. It's not working. You need to go get a real job, Stu.
Damn. I never thought about that, dude.
I'm telling you, it gives me chills because that's what as an adult now, I look at Stu and I'm like, dude, he's in his basement, dude. He's all by himself. He's trying to reclaim that what his kids upstairs are experiencing at that same moment. His is lost. He's an adult. It's lost. He's not on an adventure with his friends, bro. He's trying to create something to give a child
that
happiness that happiness and adventure that he once experienced, right? He wants to make kids happy with his inventions. But in the same sense, I feel like it's I don't want to go too deep, but it's like it's his own journey for that reclaiming of innocence in that childhood happiness.
Yeah, man, that's a real interesting way to look at it, which I never really thought about. But as you're speaking, I'm like going through all the episodes in my head, and like he's in the basement, and Dee Dee, which is the wife, she's like, Stu, and at the same time he's got to run over and get his kids because they're getting into all kinds of stuff, and he's like, oh, I got a deadline, Dee Dee, I got to put out this new toy, like I need the parts, they're shipped, like I don't have everything I need. I'm like, there's even episodes where he is like stuck and he's trying to think of inventions, and he's like, what's the new best toy? And his kids' adventures actually help him with his toy building, and so it is very much
right
true.
In front of him.
Yes. It's almost like his influence, but at the same time, you said, like you said, is he's trying to capture that. And it's funny if he just went out and, almost paid more attention to his kids or played with his kids, he might find
right
it
there. Yep. It's like
and so, as an adult, like you don't see that. you know,
Mm-hmm.
or like even in real
As a
life.
child.
No, but like even in real life as an adult, you might take things for granted that are right there in front of your eyes and not see them.
Oh,
And if you
yes.
just went out and saw, or paid attention more, and you'll find exactly what you're looking for.
I think a lot of people just get stuck in their heads, right? In that moment
Exactly.
when you're just like, holy shit, look at my nieces and nephews over here just completely lost in their own world, having a great time with little pieces of plastic, right? But I'm over here worrying about everything else going on in life and stressing. And it's just like if I just kind of take a step back and get out of my own damn head, and enjoy that moment with them. It's not about being a child or an adult. It's just about, I guess, seizing the moment,
Mm.
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I definitely agree. You're onto something there, player. And that's how I feel a lot of the times when, like, I can pick up some Legos and just get lost, dude. I used to build Legos all the time. For me as a kid, that was my thing: puzzles and Legos, and even Light Bright. Like those were my things.
Oof,
Yes, I
oof.
went. I went back to the
Oof.
basics. Light
Oh,
Bright,
light
player.
bright.
Light Bright.
Oh,
He will forever have a place in my heart, Light Bright.
I'm gonna look up light bright after this on Amazon. I'm gonna buy one, bro. We're gonna play.
Yeah, oh, that would be so cool. Yes, do that.
We're gonna make a Back to the Basics logo from a light bright. That'd be so tight.
I love it. But that's what I'm saying, dude, is these shows, and they just pull something out of you. It almost takes you back to when you were like a kid. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is getting back to the basics
Mm-hmm.
and getting back to that feeling of when you were a child, when you were a kid, when everything was so much more grand than the everyday life that we have to deal with, or that we either choose to deal with, or that we're presented. But just to take a step back and take a moment and enjoy the world and the adventure around you and just get lost into something. That's what we strive for here on this podcast. So
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
yeah, man.
So
So is Doug the winner then? Did we decide? No. Just fuck everything we just said. I'm gonna go with Doug.
I'm gonna go ahead and vote and say I'm gonna have to say Rugrats.
Yeah. I started, and you can go back and re-listen. I started this podcast off and I was very Doug centric. And you changed my mind. You
I ain't trying to change anybody's minds. I just think
you
that
made me you made me see. You made me see that, okay, yes, after everything we just talked about, Rugrats, dude. And we didn't even go into it.
We didn't get into it too deep. You know what I'm saying? We're just skimming the surface here and getting back, to where we belong. To what, you know what I'm saying? The point, we call it, I like to call it in the gaming world, we call it our respawn point, right?
Oh.
and that is the past for me. That's the past for a lot of us, right? But I think at the end of the day, sometimes we have to step away from how we personally feel, and kind of recognize one thing over the other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're
fucking makes any sense.
They're
but
two
it does
great
to me, so.
TV shows. Two great cartoons, and the people who took the time and the dedication to put those shows out there for kids like me and kids like you at the time. There's nothing that we can say that can like put that in a bad light. Like, yes, we are trying to compare the two and find out which one was the best, but dude, at the end of the day, like you said, they're both amazing. But you take a step back and recognize, Rugrats. This is a clear winner, player. It's a clear winner. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to say it. Yeah.
All right. That was fun. And if anybody is interested, once again, go to our website, www.back2dbasics.com. Catch us on the socials there. We got Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
And anything to close out, Eddie?
Oh man, I'm just gonna I'm gonna turn on my TV and head straight back to the 90s, back to the basics, and I'm gonna turn on some Rugrats, man. That's what I'm gonna be doing the rest of the night.
Sounds good. And once again, guys, we are back to the basics. Catch us every week. And until next time, I know I fucking butchered that. I was going to say until next time we go back to the basics. But you know what it is.
Yeah. You could just cut it off there. Until next time.
Until next time, guys. Peace.
Peace.